Hey guys, Desert Fox 46 here, bringing you some Battlefield 5 gameplay. For those that play Battlefield 5, you know that this is the Solomon Island map. In my opinion, one of the best maps added since they introduced the Pacific Theater to us. It gets really chaotic, really intense. It's just really fun jungle fighting. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. In the background, I'm going to be giving commentary. Just talking about how basically Battlefield 5 fucked up, in my opinion, because I know a lot of you have different opinions of Battlefield 5, where it could have gone. You know, probably a lot of you thought even after the Pacific Theater was introduced, it was still dead or dying. But yeah, I'm just gonna give my opinions about it, just so you guys have something else to, you know, listen to while you watch the game. I know these games tend to get pretty long. I try to edit them down to like the shortest time possible. But, you know, for those of you that play Battlefield, some games last like 40 minutes. I think I've even been in a game where it was like an hour long. But yeah, it gets really long. So yeah, I try to edit it down as much as I could, trying to get the juicy parts still. But yeah, I'm probably going to be doing this more often for my Battlefield videos, just because, like I said, they're really long. So I don't want you guys getting bored or whatnot. You know, just want you guys to have something to listen to other than the video game sound effects. You know, even if it's just me talking, or I don't know, just me making some weird ass sounds. But yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to start talking about how they really messed up, in my opinion. You know, the game had already a shaky introduction when it was first introduced. You know, I kind of delayed playing the game just because of the fact that, you know, I was reading articles about how the developers were ignoring the gaming community, basically saying, fuck you, we're going to do whatever we want. Mainly with the introduction of women in the combat roles. You know, that kind of threw me off, and I know it threw off a lot of people, and it kind of, you know, made the game less appealing. You know, I personally wouldn't have mind, like, say Battlefield 5 would have been like a Modern Warfare type thing. It wouldn't have bothered me if it was if they would have added women fighters, you know. But the fact that, you know, they're focusing on World War II, they should have kept it historically accurate, in my opinion. You know, that's what kind of threw me off. Like, if we were talking about 2020 and they decided, okay, let's add women fighters, all right, you know, that's today. Today is different than 1940. 1940, there was mainly men fighting, white men at that, for the American Army. And, you know, yeah, for the American Army. There were African American, but they had their own separate unit, just because, you know, due to segregation and whatnot. You know, they had their own separate unit. But as far as women came, they were mostly medics, you know, like hospitals and stuff like that, nurses and whatnot. The Russian side is a different story. They had, you know, women in combat roles, but that's a whole different story, you know, whole different video. But yeah, like I said, it would have not bothered me if it was Modern Warfare. But the fact that they're focusing on World War II, you know, when I play World War II games, I don't know about you guys, but when I play World War II games, I try to, I want it to be as authentic as possible, down to the sound, the guns, the fighters, the clothing. Like, I want it to be authentic. Like, I want to feel like I'm inside, like I'm living through World War II, like I'm actually fighting in those chaotic ass battlefields. Like, I want it to be as authentic as possible. But I mean, when you throw women into the battlefield, like for that time period, you know, it makes it less authentic, just because of the fact that there were no women in combat roles at that time. And to make matters even worse, they added, well, they didn't really add this as a playable character, which I know a lot of people thought they would, and I thought they would. That's what kind of, you know, I kind of shied away from the game because of that. But the fact that they showed a British woman fighting alongside British men with a prosthetic arm, that made it less, you know, less authentic. Like, it seemed like something from something you would find in Fortnite, like somebody with fucking pirate hooks and shit, you know. it just made it seem really silly and, you know, not as serious as World War II games should be, you know. But that's what kind of threw me off as well. But luckily they didn't add that character as a playable character, because I mean that would have been weird as fuck, like holding a submachine gun with hooks. Authenticity is a key factor for me when I'm playing World War II games. I don't know about you guys, but that's just me. But yeah. But yeah, like I said, I delayed playing the games for a bit just because of all the little hiccups it had and whatnot. After a while, I caved in just because it's a World War II game. I mean, come on now. I'm pretty sure everybody's played one World War II game in their childhood or somewhere, you know, in the past. Me, it was always Medal of Honor, you know, Medal of Honor, Band of Brothers. I think Band of Brothers, or is that the fucking show? Fuck, I forgot. But there's a game. I don't know. It might be the show. Fuck. But anyways, I know it was called Highway to Hell or Hell Highway or something like that. I don't remember. But it's been a long time. But yeah. But World War II games are badass. They're always chaotic. It's always speed and aggression. Not like Battlefield 1. Like, don't get me wrong, Battlefield 1 was badass in its own right. But the tanks were very primitive and the planes were very primitive and slow, which is historically accurate. But, you know, moving on to Battlefield 5, you see that the planes are way more fast, like way faster, more agile, have higher firepower, and they're more diverse, in my opinion. Like, honestly, when you played Battlefield 1, all the biplanes looked the same, except for the, I forgot what it's called, but the one that looks like the Red Baron's plane, the triplane, I would say, because it's not a bi, because it's not 2 wings, it's 3. That one. And then the bombers, of course, and whatnot, and the attack planes. But other than that, they were like really, they look the same to me, in my opinion. But moving on to Battlefield 5, the planes were like way diverse with the Corsair, the DF-1, the P-51 Mustang, you know, the bombers and whatnot, the Stuka. I love the Stuka. The Siren's fucking badass, iconic, it's fucking badass. But, you know, moving on to that, the planes are crazy agile, diverse. The tanks, don't even get me started on the tanks. The tanks of Battlefield 1 were badass, but, you know, they're only restricted to like, I believe it was like just the front view, and then you on some tanks you can switch on the back, and then they'll have the machine gun to protect you from the rear. But I mean, the tanks in Battlefield 5 were like 360 degrees, way faster, heavily armored. The firepower was insane, and there was like different configurations to it, like flamethrowers, fucking AA guns, and shit like that. You know, it made it way more diverse and way more fun to unlock and progress, and you know, the tank ranking. But yeah, I mean, after I gave it a chance, the game was badass. It was stunning. Graphics were badass. The small little details like footprints when you're walking, the change in climate, not climate, but like just the atmosphere. Like say you're playing Pacific Storm, and then out of nowhere, like, you know, the tsunami, not the tsunami, but like the Pacific Storm, it comes through, and then it's all cloudy and rain everywhere. You know, I really enjoyed that. And I know Battlefield 5 kind of covered that with the I forgot the name for the desert map, but yeah, that desert map, the big ass long one that I always hated crossing the desert on foot. I know they added a sandstorm, that was pretty cool too, but I just feel like Battlefield 5 did a better job at that, in my opinion. It was pretty badass. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed the game. Yeah, like I said, it had a lot of potential, and it still has a lot of potential, but for some fucking reason they just gave up on it. I'm pretty sure if they would have expanded more, like I said, they could have competed with the other trending games on the market. I know they tried with the addition of their Battle Royale game, but I mean, to be honest, I don't know if you guys enjoyed it, but to me it was a big ass fail. I did not enjoy it. I played like 4 or 5 games. I don't know. It was all right, but I mean, to be honest, compared to other Battle Royale games, like say I had the choice of playing Battlefield 5 Battle Royale compared to like, I don't know, Modern Warfare, PUBG, Fortnite, Apex, I'd rather choose one or the other as opposed to Battlefield 5. Like Battlefield 5 is cool just for multiplayer, like the sector conquest, shit like that. That's where Battlefield 5 shines. And speaking of Battlefield 5 shining, after the introduction of the Pacific Theater, I really had high hopes for the game, because before that, it kind of seemed like it was dull or getting boring, like it was losing its player base. It was kind of getting harder to find lobbies. But after the introduction of the Pacific Theater, like people started flooding the game. YouTubers started, kind of like posting videos again of Battlefield 5, and that's where Battlefield 5 began to shine again. Like it got its Battlefield 5-ness back. And for those of you that play Battlefield 5, you know what I'm talking about. Like, just the chaoticness, like the sense that you're in actual combat. Like, it's different from playing Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty, it's just fast-paced at times when you're playing multiplayer. Warzone's like, it's intense, but it's like a game to chill with your friends at the same time. A little bit slower pace, but once you get into combat, it gets kind of crazy. Battlefield games are always chaotic, always crazy, especially if you're playing like Operations. Insane. And staying on that comparative analysis of Call of Duty and Battlefield, the other thing that I loved from Battlefield 5 that Battlefield 1 kind of lacked, but I'm glad that Battlefield 5 added it, is the fact that it was more teamwork based, I'd say. Just because of the fact that, like for example, if you play Call of Duty, there could be a motherfucker camping on the corner, stack up his kill streaks, and next thing you know, he has Juggernaut, AC-130, and White Phosphorus, and he'll basically lay waste to all the other enemy teammates, right? And that gets kind of annoying. But Battlefield 5, instead of, adding kill streaks, which none of the Battlefield 5 games have kill streaks, but Battlefield 5 added that option for the squad leader to call in support, right? And I thought that was pretty badass. Having more teamwork based, racking up your squad points, and then the squad leader calls in artillery, or even better, the V1, or the I forgot what it's called for the British and the Japanese, but you know what I'm talking about. The V1 is iconic. It's badass. The sound's badass. The explosion. The first time I seen it and it threw my ass back into the dirt, I was like, God damn. Like the art, everything looks fucking stunning. I was like shocked. Like I'm still shocked. But yeah, that was something cool that they added. Like I thought it was really cool, but I digress. Going back to, I know I'm going off topic on a different fucking tangent. But going back to the Pacific Theater, I thought I had really high hopes when they, released that with the introduction of the Pacific Storm, Iwo Jima, what was the other one? Wake Island, and then Solomon Islands. Like I had really high hopes. Like I thought, oh hell yeah, I think they're gonna release the Eastern Front after this. I was like, that's gonna be badass to see. Like because I know Battlefield 1. When they started releasing more stuff, they released like Verdun and the Russian Revolution, and I was like, oh holy shit, they're actually covering a vast amount of history. That's pretty cool. And I thought Battlefield 5 would do the same, and I was really excited to see the Eastern Front because I've done a lot of research on the Eastern Front, and it's a pretty badass section of World War II, like the battles and whatnot. But yeah, I had really high hopes, but they let me down. Well, I'm pretty sure they let everybody else down because, yeah, it sucks. But going back to the Pacific Theater, I know I keep going off topic and then going back to Pacific Theater, but going back to the Pacific Theater, I feel like they could have expanded a lot on that just because they could have added like a game mode. Like I was thinking the other day, I was thinking back to Battlefield 1, and I don't know if you guys remember this game mode. I don't know if it was like a limited time only type of game mode. I haven't jumped back onto Battlefield in a while. Battlefield 1. But it was like mostly all planes and then like 2 Zeppelins. And the enemy planes had to take down your Zeppelin and you had to take down their Zeppelin. And whoever took down the other team's Zeppelin would win the game. And the Zeppelin, of course, was like manned by like other players. They would be on that shit with machine guns, and then you'll be flying around. Like, I really enjoyed that game. Like, it was really fun being able just to go into dogfights constantly. You know, that was pretty cool. But I was thinking, for the Pacific Theater for Battlefield 5, they could have added the Battle of Midway, and they could have done something similar where it was, but instead of Zeppelins, it could have been like 2 carriers, and that's where you know, the team spawned. Because that's what fucking carriers were. I mean, that's what the planes took off from. But, you know, the team spawned from each different carrier, and there'll be little, you know, there'll be destroyers around it, protecting it. You know, and either people could be on the carrier, you know, with machine guns, anti-aircraft, or you could be on the destroyer with the artillery cannons and, you know, just driving this destroyer and whatnot. Or the rest of the people could have been on planes, and just, you know, the objective of the game would be take down that person, the other team's carrier. And once that other team's carrier health depleted, they'll blow up. The remaining planes in the sky would be left to just fight down to the last plane, you know. And then whoever, you know, once all the planes are destroyed, that's the end of the game. You win the game, right? That would have been something badass to see, and I was hoping for that. I was really hoping for that. But yeah. But now going over to the Eastern Front, you know, I was hoping they would start off with Operation Barbarossa, which, for those of you that don't know, it's basically just the whole operation that the Germans had, you know, came up with. Well, Hitler mostly, out of fucking paranoia. To invade Russia before Russia invaded them. So yeah, that would have been cool to see. Like, you know, the beginning of the Eastern Front would have began with chapter, I don't know, 1, Operation Barbarossa, and then progressed with the Germans using their Blitzkrieg tactic, going into Russia and just taking over Russia like back to back. That would have been something badass to see. Like, you know, different maps. But speaking of the Eastern Front, the 2 maps or game modes that I really wanted to see was the Battle of Stalingrad, which I know every World War II game has covered mostly, and I'm pretty sure most of you know. But that would have been something cool to see, like in operations, like say like how we have in Battlefield 5, Grand Operation, I think it's called, where it's like 3 days span. That would have been something cool to see, like say the first day they're in the outer banks of Stalingrad, snowing. The second day it's like, I don't know, a blizzard, and they're reaching Stalingrad, closer to Stalingrad. And the third day it's clear, and it's like the Battle of Stalingrad. You know, that would have been something cool to see. That would have been something really badass to see, to be honest. But apart from the Battle of Stalingrad, I really wanted to see the Battle of Kursk. A lot of people don't know about that battle. I didn't know about the battle until I wrote a paper about it. But the Battle of Kursk, it happened after Stalingrad, and it was after the, spoiler alert, the Germans were defeated by the Russians at Stalingrad. They were getting pushed back, and the Russians basically attacked them in Kursk with I forgot the number, but like 1,000, maybe 2,000 tanks. It was like a bunch of fucking tanks. The Germans amassed all their fucking tanks they could. It was like a big tank battle royale. It was crazy. But that would have been something cool to see. Like say each side would have had like 20 tanks each. The rest would have been like infantry, airplanes, you know, and just like massive tank battle. That would have been something badass to see. And from Battlefield, that would have been something cool to see. Especially like I mentioned before, how the tanks were like beautiful, man. The shockwaves from the explosion from the main muzzle, crazy good. Like, especially with earphones, damn, the sound.
Keep yourself healthy.
Crazy. I really enjoyed like just the sound effects of the whole game. But That would have been something cool to see, like the Battle of Kursk. Like, I don't know. I was really hoping for that once the Pacific Theater came out. I thought hopefully they'll start introducing, the Russian front. I feel like they should have added the Fall of Berlin as well. That kind of would have been really nice to see, like just kind of wrap up the whole World War II, make it as realistic as possible. Like, I don't know, the final chapter, the Fall of Berlin, and that's the end of the game, and that could have been like a grand operation too, like 3 days worth, like, I don't know, like one day you're the Americans pushing from one side, and then the other day you're the Russians, and then at the last day it's just like the Russians pushing into Berlin, and basically close quarter combat in the city. And I don't know, that would have been cool. Speaking of the Americans on the western side, they should have added like the Battle of the Bulge too. That would have been nice to see. That would have been really nice. That would have been cool. But like I said, they didn't. Like, that would have been, yeah, that would have been really nice. Like a woods area covered in snow, especially with the graphics that Battlefield 5 had. That would have been really nice to see. But yeah, like I said, I'll say it again. They fucked up and they let me down, and they let everybody else down. God damn it. But yeah. But yeah. I'm trying to think of what else.
Keep yourself upright.
Out of my mind. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, that would have been nice to see it close up like that. Also, just a side note, I would have liked it if they would have done it like in chronological order. That's just my opinion. I feel like it would have made it more realistic and more cohesive if they would have just kept it like in chronological order. Like, say the first ever map, the map packs available would have been like, the Fall of Poland. I haven't done really much research on Poland, but it was either Poland or Denmark. I don't remember, but I remember it was like the Germans took over like in a matter of hours or minutes or some shit like that. But correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, but they should have done something with that. Like, I don't know. That would have been nice to see. But yeah, they should have progressed with like 1939, Fall of Poland, and then 45 with the Fall of Berlin, right? That would have been something cool. Like I said, cohesive. It would have made it really realistic. Like, if you lived through the battle, like from 39 to 45. And also, just another side note, the reason I said end it off with the Fall of Berlin is because if you would try to keep it as realistic as possible and end it off with the Pacific Theater, it kind of wouldn't make sense. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure most of you, for those that paid attention to history class, you know that we dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 45. So, I mean, that wouldn't have made for an exciting game mode. I mean, like, what, half of the fucking players on Nagasaki or Hiroshima, fucking tongue tied, but Hiroshima, and then the rest of the players, or like, I don't know, a small amount of players just manning a plane and guarding the plane and dropping the bomb. And then that's the end of the game. I mean, you can see the disadvantage in that. So yeah, I mean, unless it was like in an alternate universe, but and the Americans did decide to invade on foot Japan. But then again, I'm talking about realism and keeping it as realistic as possible, so that would have been an option. But I feel like they should have ended it off with Iwo Jima. They should have waited and introduced that like at the final chapters, and just had Iwo Jima as the final, because in history, that was the decisive moment where once they captured Iwo Jima, they had like an island where they could, station planes, and planes could take off that were at a close proximity to Japan. So, that's kind of basically the end game of the Pacific Theater. Once they got a hold of those islands in the close proximity to the Japanese mainland, that was basically game over, especially with the atomic bomb and whatnot. But yeah, I feel like they should have ended it with the Fall of Berlin. That would have been a nice, beautiful battle to see. And then, like, at the end, it would have been like, just, I don't know, it would have just been cool to see that. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's the end of my rant. Hope you guys aren't asleep, or I don't know. I know you guys weren't hoping for a fucking history lesson. But yeah, you got one. But anyways, like I said, I'm gonna be posting like 2 more videos of Battlefield 5. So stay tuned for that if you want to watch more. I'm also gonna be going back. I'm gonna make like a goodbye video, I guess. I mean, this kind of seemed like a goodbye video, but this is like just me talking shit. But I'm basically making a goodbye video for Battlefield 5. I'm gonna be signing off, deleting it from my fucking system, and going back to Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4. Like I said, I never tried Battlefield 4, but I always hear good things about it. People are always saying Battlefield 4 is the best. People say Battlefield 1 is the best. I don't know anymore. I played Battlefield 1. It was good. It was a cool game, badass. But thinking of trying Battlefield 4. So y'all get to see me lose my Battlefield 4 virginity. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'm also going to be going back to Call of Duty, trying to get some content from the new season. I already got the ISO unlocked, ISO, whatever the fuck you pronounce it. So I'm going to be doing gameplay on that, testing it out, seeing how good it is, the TTK and whatnot. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Like I said before, I'm going to be trying to add more commentary, especially to these Battlefield videos, because I know they're pretty long and it does get boring. Even for myself, watching it without nobody talking gets pretty boring. But I mean, people have different tastes, I guess. You might like it if I don't talk. You might like it if I do. You might like it if I just make fucking weird sounds. I don't know. Just let me know in the comments. Either shut the fuck up or keep it coming. I don't know. Dislike, like, give me feedback. And also just let me know about the games, what games you guys want to see me post. I also have Apex. I haven't played in a while, but I can jump back on it, get some content for that as well. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Try to stay in the loop. I'll try to post more videos. I know I kind of been lagging lately, but I'll try to post as many videos as I can. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. See you later.